Yo guys, what is up? Otaku Ops here. So today I'm doing the third part of my Blu-ray DVD game collection. So if you haven't seen the previous two parts, please check them out. There's a lot of good stuff in there. First off the heap, we have RWBY. This is volume 7. I haven't watched this, so please no spoilers. I did, I think I finished episode season 5 or maybe 6 even, but anyway, this is very good. This is one of the maybe the best current animation that's coming from the US. So definitely check it out. Okay, this one is Clo-Clo. It's a documentary, it's a French documentary, or actually I should say a drama, about the famous singer Claude Francois, who died very kind of early in his life. There was a case where he was taking a bath or something, and the hair dryer that was plugged in fell into the bathtub, and he got electrocuted. So I wouldn't say actually that he is some kind of like very important figure because his music was very what we say kitsch, in English. So kind of with this weird French disco thing. And as far as being some kind of intellectual, I don't think he was one. I don't think he was one at all. He kind of profiteered from that wave of artists at the time who were doing the same stuff. So there is another French singer that was alive in the same era, well, a little bit later, I should say, called Daniel Balavoine. And Balavoine, he is an intellectual. He was an intellectual. He also died very young. Stupid, helicopter accident somewhere in Africa, I think. That was a shame. Okay, here I have the whole box of The Outer Limits. You can see here it has 1, 2, 3, 6 discs, and they're all like categorized by the genre, like sci-fi, etc., fantastic, death, aliens, etc. This is an interesting show. It makes you think about stuff. I always thought like Outer Limits and the X-Files kind of complement each other quite nicely. So I don't know where to put this. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so this one, Old Boy. This is a South Korean movie, and yes, I know there is a American remake because, Hollywood has no imagination, so they just keep remaking things which are not even their own. I heard even like the Terminator might get a remake sometime soon. And it's like that's like the 80s. They ran out of so much imagination that now they have to remake the 80s. Like wow. Anyway, this one is a pretty sick movie, as it usually is from South Korea. I will not spoil the story, but basically you just have to watch it because it became a classic. All right, next on the list, I have Seaquest, and this is the third season. I have them all actually. It's kind of become forgotten these days, unfortunately, but it's a very good show. If you're into submarines, etc., maybe with submarines, it's one of the best actually in that category. So give it a watch. It's interesting. Season 3 was a little bit different from the first two seasons. They changed the lead character. That was one big difference. Uh, but still had interesting episodes. Like, for example, the nuclear crisis that actually happened. That was a great episode. So, yeah, check it out. The Expanse, season 2. I got season 1 and season 3 somewhere in there. I really like it. Good idea. The acting could be better. The acting in all seasons was not very amazing, to be honest. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 were quite solid in general. But season 4, man, like what happened there? I know they moved to Amazon, so there were some changes, I'm sure. But come on, now you have the money to. There's no problem to do anything. But season 4, in my opinion, was just a complete waste. The terrible acting carries on, but the story itself was just like very bland and just boring. And it feels like it could have been told in, let's say, 2 or 3 episodes, but instead it was dragged out into, I don't know, 10 or 12 episodes. And it just felt very diluted, like extremely diluted. So, yeah, well, not a fan of season 4. But check out the first 3 seasons. Hopefully, season 5 is better. I hear from people it's better, but I'm not, I have to watch it first. All right, next one. It's a Blu ray disc. Henry of Navarre, or Henry V, as sometimes it's referred to. I would say this is like a 6 out of 10 movie. But it's okay. It's well done. The production value is quite good. But as far as the story goes, it's not that great. But if you can grab it for like $1 or something, then check it out. Here we have The Expanse season 3. I already talked about it. I'm not gonna do it again. All right, this one, Face. It's another South Korean movie, and it's well, kind of a horror movie, as you can figure out from the title, or from the poster, I should say. But this is an interesting movie because it's approached from the point of view of a police investigator whose job it is to reconstruct the faces of victims using 3D modeling, etc. So that is interesting. That alone is very interesting. And of course today I'm sure this tech is used more and more. So yeah, that I do recommend. That is probably like an 8 out of 10. So check it out, definitely. All right, the Untold History of the United States. That's an Oliver Stone series. He goes through events in the US history, and there are definitely things that happened where, okay, so basically, here's the thing. Like today, most of the media, even the media on the left, unfortunately, what they do is they do manufactured consent. So they have decided a narrative, and now they go out there and they basically try to convince you. You just have to watch House of Cards. It's exactly the same. It's like, oh, we need to get rid of that guy, so we need some kind of catchphrase. Okay, we found the catchphrase. Okay, now you all the goons memorize it, and you go to CNN, you go to MSNBC, you go to ABC or whatever, and you just spread that narrative. You just repeat the catchphrase. Like the walls are closing in. Just repeat that over and over again until the people cannot think of anything else. That's how the media works these days. That is very worrying for me. Also, the fact that there is a war on whistleblowers. To be a whistleblower is really, really discouraged these days. You're gonna be chased after. You're gonna be accused. Some random people are gonna chase after you and accuse you and call you names, etc. Why would you why would you go through all of that? It seems really not worth it. And all the people who did it, like Edward Snowden, he was accused of being a Russian actor, a traitor to the country. Some people still think he's a traitor to the country, should be hanged. Dude, like he exposed the NSA thing. Like the NSA was collecting information on all of us. He exposed that. That's the good thing. And you turn around then you say, he's a traitor. He should be hanged. This is an attitude I cannot understand whatsoever. So I don't want to go like too deep into that because that could be a video on its own. Maybe one day it will be. But anyway, check it out because this is an interesting take on historical events and how some things may have happened. Obviously, you have to watch everything with a grain of salt. You have to be open-minded and you also have to be very skeptical. So, just because someone says something doesn't make it so. But just for the purpose of discourse, it is important. All right, now I have a Russian movie, and obviously you probably can't read the title, but it's Kandahar. It's that place in Afghanistan where NATO had, maybe still has, the largest air base there. This is based on a true story. There was a cargo plane that was basically forced to land in Afghanistan during the conflict, and maybe there is it's in 95 actually. So yeah, it's before we went there. But obviously the situation in Afghanistan was never that great even before the war. So yeah. They were forced to land there, and they were forced to stay there while the negotiations were ongoing. And of course, that took, forever, as you can imagine. Bureaucracy and red tape means that things take forever to change. So they devised a very careful plan to escape, and the movie is about that. So it's about their stay in captivity in Afghanistan, and then it's about their escape, which was truly heroic. All right, I got the Expanse season 1 here. I already talked about it. So all right, here, this one I didn't buy, so I don't know. I know the title, The Pianist, but I have not watched this at all, so I don't know what it is about actually at all. And then we have Napoleon, Total War. So Total War is a very famous. They make games which are like war related, but unfortunately, there are certain flaws with them, which for me just make them kind of not worth playing. Like they had the Shogun Total War, which is based on the warring states in Japan. The concept is good, let's do it. But the execution was not very good because what happens is during the siege, the AI kind of amasses in the center of the town because there's a flag there, so you have to keep the flag to keep the victory. And the AI seems to be so scared to lose that spot that they just put everyone there. And if you have artillery or archers, you basically just can keep shooting into that square where they are all at. And you won't kill everybody, but you'll do a lot of damage. You'll definitely lay the groundwork for your infantry to go in and mop the rest up. So the AI was not great. And in Napoleon, it's the same thing. There are very clear areas where the AI is not very good at all. So I hear, of course, that, they made the Warhammer games. I hear it's better, but unfortunately, I have not. Or there was one about Rome also. People say it's a little bit better, but I have not played them, so I can't comment. Maybe when I play it, I will comment. All right, then I have a documentary, Thug Angel. This is about the life of Tupac Shakur, who was killed in a gang incident, even though it happened decades ago, and we still haven't caught the people who did it very mysteriously. We catch everybody else, but for some reason, not in this case. He's an interesting case because yes, he grew up in the ghetto, but he was actually pretty well educated, and his mother was pretty well educated, from what I remember. He stayed with people who were well educated, and he has a very classic. Well, he has several good songs, but the one that remained kind of very popular to these days is Changes. So yeah, if you want to listen, if you just want to kind of check it out, check him out, check his music out, I would recommend looking for the song Changes, because that was a kind of groundbreaking song, and a lot of the things that he said in it are still very true today, which is kind of unfortunate, which is, says that society has really not moved in very significant ways or in the past 20 years or so. Yeah, there are some things that got better. Yes, yes. But some things have not. And to finish off here, I just got the basically it's Seaquest's seasons 1 and 2. So I do have them all. I do recommend them, by the way. So especially if you can get them on a cheap, like let's just go for it. That's it. That's actually most of my collection. So of course, in the future, if I get a decent amount more, I'll make more videos. But really, that's it. You know, the rest of the stuff I try to watch on Amazon Prime and Netflix. So it's nice that it's available digitally. But I do like the feeling of having things physically. Although I do understand the argument that yes, the place in our homes is not infinite. So yes, we can't. If I bought literally everything in my collection, I think my house would be just full of DVDs and books everywhere. So that's not the case. This is thanks to material that is available digitally. So I don't know, guys, tell me what you think in the comments section. Do you prefer a physical copy or a digital copy? I know there's definitely pros and cons of both. I mean, some people just like to hold something like, hey, I have the box. Some people prefer the digital because it's just easier. You go and click somewhere and you can watch something. So yeah, there are definitely pros and cons. So guys, tell me what you think. And if you have your own things that you recommend, drop them in the comments section, you know. I always find a lot of things that people recommend. So drop it in the comment section. And that's it for today's video. So stay safe and until the next video. Bye bye.